I'm gonna start with being with this this little glass in my hand. I'm gonna say hello, people of wherever, and this is people's exhibit, and your people, so it works. This is the only show that still refuses to go vroom 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 when it starts,
And screech when it stops.
and joining me today is a hidden Nobel Peace Prize laureate, Ed Friendly Fire Hicks.
Yes, I make sure that there's only one side living at the end. I'm not sure which side.
As long as there's one, we're good.
There's no hostilities after that.
Yeah, Roman peace is I think the term from the ancient times.
Oh, really? Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
Well, I don't like that. But...
If it was in a video game, I would like that, but in a real...
Yeah, if it was an ability on a card that says Roman peace, and you're like, what does it do? It's like oppression plus 10, and happiness plus 2. Okay.
Roman peace level 2 achieved. Okay, so we are going to start with Japanese peace. Peace, like a piece, not peace, but peace, get it? Anyway, Shenmue! Has made 3.6 or 3.3 possibly. Let's actually double check.
I believe it's 3.6 because it's past 3.5.
I started typing 3.3 million instead of Shenmue. Great. I am in great state. I am a professional. I know what I'm doing.
3.639.
I was right. So see, I am a professional.
$1 million.
$1 million out of $2 million, which they claimed they needed to make the game. Now, in that article that we both probably had a look at, it was interesting to find that the developers are saying that what they really need, is 10 million.
Really? To get everything that they want
But
done,
everything they want is 10 million. And, I mean, 2 million probably things going to work out. I guess Sony isn't really paying them that well, is they? Are they? Like, they're just going to give them $10 on top of what they make on this Kickstarter.
I guess at least then they can say they're technically backing it. Although, of course, the damage they do by admitting that they were going in with them would be obviously worth more than $10. But yeah, it's weird. It basically, it's not 100% bad because there's nothing stopping you pulling your money right now if you want.
Yeah.
If you were like duped into thinking it was you who could make the difference, and maybe that was the case that Sony was like, well, we're not going to actually stump the money up unless this thing succeeds. Because in fact, there's no way they would have, because it wouldn't have been they'd got a portion of the money. They'd have suddenly got absolutely no funding money, and then then follow up and say, all right, well, we'll pick up the tab. Everyone would be like, oh yeah, you will. Nobody wants it, and also, why don't you just do this at the beginning and take a risk? Anyway, so it's the whole idea of them using kind of in a slightly scummy way Kickstarter as a test bed.
Yeah.
For the same shit we said last week, basically. Except the new development of it is 10 million is what they'd want, so that they can have every feature. And it's a little bit weird because you should have a plan before you start a Kickstarter. And the difference in features, I feel, between 2 and 10 million is going to be quite significant. And so that makes me think that parts of this plan could end up being very tacked on if they handle this badly. And this is a lot of money we're talking about.
And what I guess touched me most was the wording of this whole thing. So there's a couple of quotes in the article, and then so he said, to truly have the features of an open world, they need $10 million. So they're making an open world game, but to truly be the real, you know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? Like,
so what's the product you were going to put out at 2 million?
Yeah, it's going to be the somewhat open world with a lot of closed shit in it. And
there've been some great tweets about this. I saw one which was like, for $100 million, we'll actually pay actors to live in a studio of this world.
Yeah.
For $100 billion, it was like their world will replace our world as reality.
Yeah. So Shenmue 3 will be the reality. Yeah, I saw that as well. And there also will be there's a couple of other stretch goals kind of mentioned in here. I think there was something at like 4 million or 5 million. There will be part-time jobs like in China at that time or something like that, which was at least amusing.
Yeah, that's somewhat interesting.
So overall, I think this week in video games has been a bit sad. Is how I perceive it.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's been a lot of
bit
like
kind of sigh, get on with it. In the mines where you're getting the boot in your face every day forever kind of thing. Just like, this is what you wanted, and this is what you're getting, and everyone's kind of thanking the boot before it smashes them.
Yeah, like speaking of boots, I know a guy who wears boots. Batman. So he had some trouble. I love this image. Someone tweeted this as like, "Oh, give me a sec, shutting down my game on Steam," and which is what happened. So it had like mostly negative reviews, I think, after it came out, and it was like in like 30s or something, whatever approval rating, if not less, which is rare. Like that doesn't happen that much on Steam.
Yeah, especially for like some IP like this, they'll just generally get carried along by the fact that they bought Batman.
Yeah,
They're only with things like Colonial Marines, where something's just botched so super hard that people just go, "Wait, hang on, this is terrible, this is awful."
even that wasn't pulled off Steam though.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is pretty unique.
And even what was the other thing that failed horribly? Duke Nukem. There was that just came out, wasn't there? Like this just didn't.
It just slithered out.
Yeah,
I
slithered
mean,
out. And-
people got it, but it was more like a curiosity. It wasn't like, oh, this is so failed. It was like everybody already knew what state it was in, and they were like, come on, release it, release it, release it. And they all went to the freak show. So
Yeah.
in a way,
Yeah.
it wasn't a failure on this. It wasn't as surprising as this.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yes, because could be with all the other Batman games, they were actually working.
Yeah, apparently like Arkham Oranges or the other one. One of them was like actually pretty good.
Yeah. Did you
Or
say
maybe
Arkham
it invented
Oranges?
this style of fighting or something.
Did you say Origins or Oranges?
I said oranges. and
Good.
I
I
always say oranges.
Cool. Excellent. I just wanted to double check. Yeah, I even played like 2 hours of one of them at some point, and it was like just working. It was a game that worked.
Yeah.
Unlike this one apparently, which ran at
Best thing these days.
they ran at the same frame rate at low settings and super high settings. That's what I saw. One of the things I saw. Anyway.
Oh, it was locked or something, was it?
Or yeah, it was weird. Like you changed the settings and the game just performed exactly the same. This was just a minor. This was like a funny problem, but apparently most problems were that people couldn't launch the game. And
Damn.
hence, yeah, it was as always, it was handled by other guys, and they're gonna fix it. And apparently, it's coming back in September.
Works, like once.
Yeah. And they're gonna-
After that, it's like, oh, if we outsource like this, it's a shit release. We get bad press, and we have to scramble and fuck around fixing it. I feel that I'm quite happy for there to be all kinds of financial blowback for releasing a broken game.
Yeah, absolutely. And they should also start doing that on like early access. Batman, Warner Brothers having an early access. I think that's the kind of sarcastic dystopian future we're headed for anyway. It is gonna happen. So
I know. I feel like early access is justified in times when you need a big beta environment to really know what the game is. Things like DayZ, it makes sense. Or things where you actually give a fuck about feedback, and people could, in theory, have even have a small impact on the output of the game. But this is a single-player fucking Batman game. There's no fucking way you're going to make any difference to it. And what's the point of doing any early access?
exactly, that's exactly why they should put
like
it on
early
there.
access movies. Like, what the fuck? It's stupid.
A script. It's just a script. And
Yeah.
and as you pay for the final release of the DVD in 3 years, the movie slowly gets made scene by scene as the actors age in front of your eyes, and you get
Yeah, and
sadder.
everyone's telling you all the spoilers from the broken version they've seen, and you're like, no, fuck off, I just want to see what it's done. What are you doing? So this is one of those cases where, like, it's just really inappropriate to have early access, and it needs to be good on release, especially something with, like, plot, where you're like, I only want to experience this once. In most people's cases will be, I want to play this game, I want to be a good-ass game, and then I want to do something else.
Yeah.
And it's just fucking shit.
and apparently there's 265 Joker, not Joker. What's his face? The question mark dude?
Riddler?
Riddler's riddles to collect, and the Batman says, "I have to collect all the riddles."
Oh, is it like, does he go, oh, Batman, a man rides in on Friday. 3 days later, he rides out on Friday.
Pretty much, yeah. And so I saw my review of, there's like 4 images. My review of Batman on PS4, and I think the image one is that, like, it's just a subtitle and it says, "I have to find the Riddler's riddles," and then the next image is, it says 0 out of 265 riddles found, and the next image is shutting down PS4, and the next image is Mario Karts.
Oh, please send me this. I need to see it.
It's in one of my retweets. I'll do it after the show. It's pretty good.
Wicked, wicked.
So next sadness is the probably the not necessarily bigger sadness in terms of its finances, puns, but at least it's something that I could understand a bit more. For one thing, I played the actual game. The Sunset is what we're talking about here. This is a video of actually the review I did of the game, and I thought it was quite terrible. And what the thing going around about this week is that developers of Sunset, which are Tale of Tales, quite famous indie developers, they've been around for, I don't know, 10 years maybe?
Yeah, a decent amount of time.
Yeah.
They've done quite a few titles, and almost all of them are notable for something. Like, people will go, here's an example of this. They'll never say, like, this is a great game. They'll go, this was first done here, or here's an interesting take on this concept.
Yeah, and they essentially did some pioneering, I guess, kind of, not really. They just kind of reintroduced the idea of, in a way, zero reward stuff, like with the path, like you just do...
Intrinsic motivation.
Yeah, so you do stuff just for, like, yeah, the universe is there, it doesn't give a shit about you, you may want to do stuff in it or not, whatever, you already paid for the game.
That's good.
Yeah, so which is very good. And then a lot of people confess they got inspired by The Path, which, by the way, is available on Steam. So if you wanted to experience that for yourself, you can do that. It's like to give a better or actual description of the game. It's Little Red Riding Hood versions. Like that. That's what I would call it, probably, if I wanted to.
Yeah, it's like a non-funny Stanley Parable of Little Red Riding Hood.
Yeah, exactly. So Sunset was their first, self-described as their first attempt at a commercial game, even though this...
Here it begins.
And here it begins. Even though this slightly confounds me because I guess they meant the one we thought we were going to make a lot of money on, because they don't have free games, except for Graveyard has a free version, but that's slightly different. They sold all their games, and some of them are, in terms of how much time you can spend in it, are quite low value for money. For example, the Graveyard paid version is $5. The game lasts 2 minutes, and I think it's cool. I think
is it like it has to last 2 minutes, or is it?
No, you can stand there, do nothing, and it will last for your entire life.
There's not like other content you could explore.
No.
Is...
So the Graveyard is essentially you are an old lady in a graveyard, and you walk to the chapel and back, and at some point you may or may not die.
Oh yes,
that's it.
Right.
And it's I actually liked it. I think it's good, and I think it's worth the $5. But it is a commercial game in a sense that you're selling it, right? But anyway, so this is their self-described as their first commercial game, and the game is a story of a American engineer who gets her first job as a cleaner in Anchuria, a fictional country, from the story. From a novella by O. Henry called... So they're like referring to that thing. It's called Kings and Cabbages, I think, which is a reference to Alice in Wonderland, where a walrus promises to tell a story of kings and cabbages, but then eats the whatever things he eats. Anyway, and country, fictional, South America, and revolution happening. You're cleaning stuff. It's kind of boring. Actually, quite a lot of boring stuff. Has terrible performance issues. There's massive problems with the story, and it didn't do well as a result. So it sold, after a month, it sold 4,000 copies.
That includes all the Kickstarter stuff and everything in the sale, I believe. Yeah.
So this is up to the announcement where they said, we are closing down, and this is why we're even telling this story. Yeah. So they said...
And then there was a small little spurt after that.
Yeah, they sold...
what's it called? Terminal investment.
Is that what it's called?
Terminal investment is when an animal is dying and they ejaculate.
Oh, right, of course. Excellent, yeah. Someone else called it like the close down bonus profit or something like that.
Fire sale.
Yeah. So they sold another 2,000 copies after that. But why this is important in any way is, for one thing, the reaction of the studio being like, you know what, fuck games. And the second one is what they wrote in their explanation of why they're leaving. And I actually, at one point, I was thinking that I had to fight myself to not read the entire thing on the show. Because it's like, it's a jam after jam after jam.
You want to print it out on a piece of paper so that you can hold it out, read it in a sarcastic voice, and slap it with the back of your hand as you go through the lines. The problem I found with it, we should definitely link to this, and people should definitely look at this, because the thing that my I guess most like clear idea from it was like, this reads like the kind of straw man character that people like Total Biscuit think of, that don't really exist, except this person does exist, this group does exist, and they seem so blinkered to what they're doing. They're so unself-aware of what this blog post is saying, and revealing about about their complete lack of understanding of, apparently, of people who play video games. And generally, this is not actually the case, I feel, with people working in indie and putting out games that aren't just Call of Duty, etc. I know that's kind of a bit cliched at this point. But yeah, it seems so bizarrely out of touch. I don't get it.
It's funny and sad at the same time. I'm gonna read like 2 bits of it. So there's one that went their opening paragraph. For one thing, the blog entry is called "And the Sun Sets," so I'm gonna read the first one. It starts with, "After the barrage of sad tales about depression caused by indies turning into millionaires overnight, allow us to raise your spirits with a story about the liberating and energizing effects of complete commercial failure." Sold,
right
anybody?
Right away, they're assuming that the reader is... They seem to have a persecution complex in this blog post, and they're addressing the villagers with the pitchforks and fire who are around them, and they're about to die, and they're like, this is their last stand before they die.
Yeah.
Like, you'll all get what's coming to you, you fake people. You don't know what art is. I'll burn then. I'll burn. Like,
And the guys are like, "Oh no, it's harvest. We're gonna go."
Yeah. We're completely indifferent to you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What?
So
you put a game out. Oh, excellent.
Oh.
$10. Oh.
It's 20 full price, by the way.
It was on sale at that point.
Yeah, 10 is on sale, but like 20, it's redonkulous. Anyway, so the second bit I want to read out before we go on about this is there's sort of a bullet point at the end, which is entitled, there's like a subtitle for it called "Being Wrong Will Set You Free." And there's 4 bullet points there, and it goes, Number 1, we studied successful games and applied our findings to the design of Sunset. And while the inclusion of certain conventions seemed to have helped some people enjoy the game, it didn't affect the size of our audience much. And they refer to like the things that we did this and it didn't affect the size, we did this and it didn't affect the size. The thing is, before a game is launched, it has no size of audience. The audience is born with the game being released. Yeah, how would you know if it affected or not? Anyway, moving on to the second point. We spent a lot of money on a PR company who got us plenty of press. They did have a PR company. That's how I got my copy of the game to review, by the way. I can confirm that. Took some work and worries off our shoulders and found us other marketing opportunities, whatever that means. But it didn't help sales one bit.
That's a bit unfair to the marketing company.
Yeah, and again, how can you know this?
Yeah, they're just throwing them under the bus as well. It's like, maybe it's your game. I find that just a bit disrespectful. Like, don't get me wrong, I generally hate marketing people because that's the default of all like reasonable people, but like, they did get you a copy of the game and you did a fair review of it.
And maybe someone bought it because, like, 300 people watched my review or whatever, I don't know. This is the third one. We even took out an advertisement on Rock Paper Shotgun where we figured the people most interested in Sunset would be gathered. For some reason. They must all use adblock because that had no effect whatsoever.
Ooh, salty.
Yeah. And
do they understand how... Never mind.
Yeah, I don't...
It's based on impressions.
Yeah.
No one sees the ad. It doesn't get... You're idiots.
We worked hard, number 4 says, on presenting a gentler... This is probably the best one in there. The gentler tale of tales to the public. So they're like these hardcore badass motherfuckers, like with double wielding guns and shooting art out of them.
That's amazing.
Which basically meant that I think it's Michelle was forbidden to. Or is it Michelle or Michael? I don't know which one is in which. There's the pair. They're a couple. So man, woman, but I don't know which. I guess it's Michael, maybe. Was forbidden to talk in public, and Oria. I think Oria is the woman. Often just smiled at the camera, parroting words whispered in her ears by communication coaches. Didn't make a difference. Do you know who their communication coach was, by the way?
Who was it?
I found out recently.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, they apparently I hired. I think they paid her. Lee Alexander, who was the famous.
And that's pretty funny. They're calling Lee Alexander this like horrible sellout marketing character. We're through the fucking Looking Glass now.
Yeah. So she did. She helped them. Interesting enough. So Lee Alexander is a famous journalist. She was involved in all the recent controversies against
It's not recent, Andro.
A year ago, she wrote the article about gamers are dead, and all the gamers felt like they choked on their cookies and milk.
She should have written "Metaphor is dead."
Yeah, damn. Don't go there, Ed. So she apparently helped them, and she's a journalist. Like that's her job. She helped them with the design of the game, which is interesting. I was reading another article, which I'm going to actually link as well. Where a guy essentially says like everything I thought about this when I read their blog post, and I read the guy who actually made the game, Disappearance of Ethan Carter, which is something I don't really enjoy, but everything he says in the article is pretty much what I thought about this thing. So anyway, and he says like if you're making your first commercial game, as you self-described this, might as well get a developer to like help you with the game design stuff as opposed to a journalist, just as in sort of a thought, which is like I don't know, I just found it as a very weird thing that.
Well, I don't know. Is it clear what actual role she had in it? Because...
There's a tweet where they say that she was helping us with the design. Yeah. So I don't know. Anyway. So yeah, extremely salty stuff. After that, they essentially on the back of that they made another 20,000. If we multiply that, how much the game. Well, not 20,000 because the Steam takes 30%, so maybe like whatever, 17 or 15. But they're still closing down. They're not making any more games due to this.
They're not closing down. They're just not making any.
Yeah, sorry. So they're not closing down. They're not making any video games anymore. Yeah. But they were. So there was a couple of tweets where it was like, yeah, but just wait and see what other new thing we're gonna do. Haha, kind of thing. No. So I guess they have some plans to make other things. So we already mentioned like a couple of points about why what didn't work in the game. And one of them that doesn't get mentioned in the article, and this could be sort of my personal thing with many different games, is the story itself. And I think when you're doing a story game, your story should be at least okay.
It's got to be rock solid if you're doing a story game, I think.
Yeah, I was being generous. So
yeah.
Their story is, as I think I mentioned a couple of things. So you're a cleaner. African American cleaner goes to with a degree in engineering. From was it Baltimore or somewhere, I think.
Yeah,
maybe.
Baltimore.
Yeah, so she goes for some reason, sort of unexplained really in the game, goes to this fictional country. For one thing, don't go to fictional countries, man. Like what the hell? They don't exist. Anyway, so she goes to this fictional country, South America, to work as a cleaner for 1 hour a week. What she does...
I can't think of a combination of things that makes you less money.
Yeah. So what she does the rest of the week is unclear, entirely unclear throughout the game. But then they need a rebellion in the game. So she works with some rich guy, and he's like sort of close with the corrupted government. There's a coup, and then there's like a rebellion against the coup.
Led by her brother.
Led by her brother, who is also obviously an American, who comes with her for some reason. So like
does not speak the language.
Doesn't speak the language. She says never read a book. Right? So this guy is like I think she also says that he's a school dropout or something like that. So he's not the brightest rebel.
Is he a symbol of the American dream?
I don't know. Maybe he is. So and somehow manages. So when he comes there, all he does is party for the few months. Somehow manages to party. I guess you don't need the language to party. You just drink or dance. I don't know. And after the coup happens, he just goes like, "Oh yeah, I'm the rebel leader," and they choose him as the leader of the rebellion of the entire freaking country. And then he fights the government for ages, does terrorist acts around the city, which are helped by her. So, as I understand, like innocent people die, but this is like brushed off and like whatever. We're doing it for a good cause, kind of thing. Then he gets captured. And there's like a lot of hints that he's dead, and there's a lot of hints that he's not dead, and then there's a lot of hints that he's dead. No one really knows what happened, and she sleeps with the main guy, and the story's over. Sorry for the spoilers. Yeah. But like that is a shit story. You can't do things like that. And then
there's like the seed of a gem of maybe something that you could make a story about in there, but there's so many problems with this that it just doesn't it just falls apart. It's a bit, I don't know. You get all the ingredients for a nice cake, you have them there, and then you just fuck it up. And you're like, well, it wasn't the ingredients' fault.
Yeah, exactly. And the most probably the funniest thing about this is how they're saying that we made the game for the gamers, and he didn't like it. They didn't make a game for the gamers, whatever that means. But I'm kind of guessing what they thought it means, and that word you're using. It's not what you think it means. Is the situation we're having here? It's not even optimized. Like it runs at 20 FPS for a lot of people. A lot of people couldn't run the game on modern computers because it was so poorly made. That is not a game for anyone who would call themselves a gamer.
You know what I imagine? I imagine that the way that this plays out, I imagine I could burst into their studio one day, unannounced, and I'd find one of them with a rope around their neck, a can of Monster in their hands, jacking it to a stream of Call of Duty, you know? And they'd be like, no, my shame! And I'd be like, oh, I see. And they're like, just like the punishment. And that's kind of what the release of this game seemed to be. It's like, oh yeah, we'll make a game for gamers, even though I think they're filthy. Oh yeah, fuck me, filthy gamers, fuck me and my fucking integrity. That's what it seemed like.
That's very accurate. This is why we have Ed on the show.
The only show.
Yeah, the only show that has Ed Hicks, actually. This is the one. I don't know. Is there anything we can say about this? I can continue on about this horrible horror story for hours, but I don't think we should. I don't know. I'm not sure we should.
Yeah, the game's an abortion, and they they apparently don't understand audiences. They're kind of It's sad because they're people you kind of respect, that they seem to be having some kind of meltdown, and it's just embarrassing for all concerned, and just kind of gross, and you just wish that it would be better, but. This is just it. They're fucking horribly childish, and hopefully in time they'll realize or learn something about themselves. But it's this complete lack of self-awareness that is killing them in this case, and it's just sad to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I witnessed a couple of sort of rage quits throughout my time with video games, and what
also
happens
in other things.
Yeah, what happens is they come back. That's in my experience.
Sometimes.
Most cases, more than 50%.
Yeah.
What I experienced personally, people come back and be like, "Oh yeah, by the way, we're doing this again." Yeah, because they feel like, "Oh shit, oh we did that."
Please be excited for my new project.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Similar thing, by the way, which I think we haven't mentioned. Let me actually turn off this great game from the screen. Okay, cool. This wasn't on the docket. It just reminded me. Chris Crawford, the guy who invented GDC, let's put it that way. He made the first GDC, and a lot of cool games before he decided to look for, or rather create a social game that is not about guns, jumping, walking, but the main verbs.
Yes, this guy.
Yeah, the main verbs in the game are like in talking, interacting, and gossip, and like people stuff, like the social thing. Anyway, so he is. I emailed him. I think I told you this story once. Because he had like a couple of recent games, and I really wanted to play them. I couldn't find them anywhere. Because he's Crawford, like he's a legend, right? He's the guy. He's the father of games in some ways. And I emailed him and I was like, "Hey Chris, how's it going? We obviously met many times, and is there any way that I can play your games?" And he was like, "Don't bother. They're shit. They're it's not worth anyone's time. They're just completely shit." And I was like, "Oh Jesus, okay, cool. Thanks for reply." And I looked after this. I looked up a couple of interviews where he is kind of talking about his failure as a game designer to come up with this social thing that he so wanted. And he has like 3 attempts, I think, throughout his career, and they're all commercial and critical failures. To which he concluded that yes, they were. And there's an interesting thing where people do that, again, coming back to Sunset, where like it's not necessary, really, that if your game doesn't do well financially, you must think it was a failure, because you may have accomplished something you were doing. And, anyway, etc. But he's has a Kickstarter now. And he is making a social game, which is like, really, after all the like, doesn't work sort of thing. And it's
quite irresponsible.
Maybe,
it really is. To when you repeatedly fail at something and then you go, "Oh, I think I'll do a Kickstarter." That's horribly irresponsible, because like I feel that you shouldn't even try to do a Kickstarter unless you yourself, honest with yourself, are like, 85% sure, at least, that you can do it and it will be good, and you have no evidence to the contrary, that it will just be a flop like everything else you've done. That's bad.
Yeah, exactly. I forgot what it's called. It starts with an S. I just do Chris Crawford Kickstarter and you'll come up. And it's weird also. He's doing it with some random people around the world who I think he found online kind of thing. I'm not sure they've done a game before.
This is a recipe for success.
Yeah. And I was like, oh god, Chris, why are you doing this?
Wait. The third result, by the way, on Chris Crawford Kickstarter is Chris Crawford reflects on a Kickstarter gone wrong.
Oh, really? It already failed? It was like 5 days ago reading about this.
This is a 2012.
Oh, he had another
article.
Kickstarter.
Apparently.
Oh, that just went...
This isn't the first time he's failed at crowdfunding as well. Jeez. There you go. News is being made as we talk about it.
Damn.
Jesus.
Seaboot is the one I'm talking about.
Seaboot.
Or Cyboot?
Currently funding. I don't know. I'd have to play the video. I'll check out later. It's apparently Kickstarter staff pick. So there you have it.
Oh, no, it's not going to happen. It says 10,000 out of 50. 11 days to go. No, this is, sorry, Chris.
Wait, he could just say, fuck you all, I'll play golf until I'm dead. And then maybe that
Which is what the Sunset dev said, kind of.
Yeah, it's kind of the exact same situation where you... It tells you a lot about a person, how they respond to their own failure. Because I don't think if somebody fails, that actually reflects poorly on them. It's their response to their failure is what's really telling.
Amen. Remember that again? One of my favorite poems by Bukowski, where he says the people who, and he talked about the average man, average woman, blah blah, who perceive their failure as that or only the failure of the world, kind of thing. So similar concept. Hey, I feel really bad about Chris Crawford's thing. I wish someone would just be like, you know what? I have a couple of mil. Here's your 50,000. And
so what you're saying is he needs to hang out with Dean Hall.
I don't think the kid. I don't know. Maybe. I don't think they would do that though, because then they would be like associated with possible eventual failure of that game, and they have like their own shit to worry about. Dean Hall never finished the game. I mean, he has he has his own demons and curse.
I don't think he does have anything to worry about at the moment. He keeps tweeting that he doesn't.
Yeah, that's a good sign that he does, probably though. Yeah. Whenever someone goes
so
like
freeing to have no financial worries.
Yeah.
Oh god, space games are expensive. Oh Jesus.
Yeah, this is fine, Ed. This is fine. I should start.
Finish Daisy.
You know the Paul from the Mode 7 games who made Frozen Synapse. He has this joke running on Twitter. I don't know if you follow him, but he started from like May the 4th be with you, and now he does every day. And yeah, today he did like...
It's him and Alex Leifshitz. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. I've just been constantly doing this, like, June the 25th.
To be with you today, yeah. So I could...
It's like literally talking about Daft Punk.
So I could start with like, this is fine every day, until people like ask me if I have already committed a suicide. And this is the bot posting every day.
Yeah, that's it. You just automated.
Yeah.
It's like Videodrome. We've recorded like 1,000 podcasts in advance with all permutations of news.
FWG ebooks. Speaking of dystopian, horrible future, Xbox. Another edition. You know how those consoles have editions? Yeah. So there's another one.
Generally, when things have editions, I don't know, that some of them may be good, but generally it's like, what do we already have that we can repackage?
The only exception I would say are textbooks in science.
Yeah,
they have editions.
They have revisions.
Yeah,
it's like patches, but for
sometimes
reality.
they call them even editions, and I think that's good because things change, and you got to put a new information in there.
Sure.
Other than that, most things, be very careful. So this edition, you can see it on the screen currently, is a is it Forza or Forza?
Forza.
Okay, Forza 6 or whatever number. Forza number.
Forza 6. This sounds like a character from Star Wars explaining which docking bay they're at.
Yeah, Forza 6 open. So Forza 6 edition, and obviously if it was just that and the color, we wouldn't mention it, but when you turn this thing on, it goes vroom, vroom, right? It's pretty good. Now, when you turn it off, it has the... I'm not going to do the sound, but it has the... Thank you, Ed.
Just like my ex-girlfriend.
You already scarred Hayden Carnett's child to death today, so that's what I mean
Sorry,
is carry on.
Child.
And when you open the thing, the ROM, it has the sound of yes, thank you. Like you're on it.
I've done my research, man.
Yeah, I know. So it's pretty great. And life is really sad. Like the world has been made sadder because this thing exists. And like I said, this week is very sad video game week. And
it's one of those things though where like you hear like some rich guy's car got keyed, or like somebody stole some really expensive painting from some fucking.
I don't give a
like,
shit about those
bank.
things.
You're like, all right, fine. Like it probably doesn't matter that much to them. They're probably fine with losing this amount of money. And if it was like someone being cheated, if this is some kind of like pawn shop thing or like cash for gold shit, I'd be like, oh, the poor bastards who are being shafted by this. But this is just like, this will make a couple of people happy. It's totally pointless. It's a waste of our time, which is why we won't stay on it for too long. But whatever, if someone enjoys it, great. I think you're a fool, but more power to you, you fool.
No, I agree with that. But my point is that when this like tiny horrible things that you don't really care about, like kind of amount, and then you have a show where you have to talk about them.
Yeah,
that's just where like this is the burden of like talking
Watch
about
Doritos Pope.
Yeah,
with his dead eyes.
Speaking of, here's Red Bull doing a campaign with Together, whatever tie-in thing with Destiny, and apparently this was a big problem with Destiny players, and I'm surprised it was because it seems like something they would enjoy. Red Bull, it's energy drink, and you play Destiny, most of them probably drink it. Red Bull is very popular. I looked up, and they sold like 5.4 billion cans in 2014. Someone is drinking that. And,
Claudia mostly.
Yeah, Claudia is drinking half of it. So what's going on here is you get a code on it, and you get 30-minute XP boost in Destiny from the can. So
that's perfect, because that's just about long enough to drink a can of Red Bull.
Yeah.
So you could just imagine the scenario in that darkened living room. There's littered cans everywhere, and the person going, one-time consumable, gotta get the bonus. And also, like, from what I hear, I haven't played Destiny, from what I hear, the gameplay is pretty fucking monotonous.
That's
and
what I heard
empty.
as well, yeah.
So you can just imagine, it's very dystopic. This upsets me much more than the Xbox. For example, as an example, one of these things you don't need cluttering the universe.
And then what's their name? The Dying Light people made a joke about this, where they put a glass of water and then said if you tweet them that you drink water and not the Red Bull or something like that, they'll give you something in the game. Again, they're self-serving, obviously, but it was kind of funny that.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a really good opportunity to. This is the kind of like marketing thing where I see what you're doing, but I don't mind because it is funny and I recognize the opportunity that you took. So I'm like, I can't be angry about it, even though I know it's manipulative in that way. It's a good ass picture of a glass of water. That looks amazingly refreshing.
Yeah, I have those glasses as well.
Yeah, you were just like, you put some water in it. You're like, it just doesn't look like the one from the internet.
I think this is IKEA glass.
Yeah,
that's why everyone has it or something.
Yeah, everyone's got these motherfuckers next to their stack of stolen pencils. Now, if you steal a whole bunch of those pencils and you put them in your pocket, they make your leg itch like crazy, and I don't think that's an accident. I think they must put something on the pencils.
And I know this because...
Because obviously, when I was a kid, I took fistfuls of pencils. I was like, I'm being so clever, and then I was like, oh, my legs are so itchy. They probably put like some pesticide on there or something.
They're itchy to this day.
Please do not put the pencils in your mouth. Why? No reason.
Continuing with the horrible news. Apple decided to fight the good fight, as Apple always does. They really love to like standing for good things, and obviously a good thing here is banning the flags.
Can I start with a metaphor before you even describe what any of this is? So an alien comes to Earth, and you're visiting your grandmother, and you kiss your grandmother goodbye because your parents tell you to, and you're walking off, and the alien sees this and takes the skin off your grandmother, puts it on her body, and then puckers up for a kiss, and then wonders why you're horrified.
Yeah, I think that's very accurate. I don't know if I should actually describe what happened because it's just going to be less than that. So
Carry on.
Anyway, the flag thing. So the recent racially motivated shooting in America, one of many that happen
What a
every day.
controversial view you have that it was racially motivated. There's no hard evidence of this.
No, not except for the guy carrying the flags of apartheid countries on his jacket, and saying I am doing this because of racial reasons.
Make sure that they write that in the articles. Bang,
Yeah.
bang, bang.
Yeah.
Fucking, obviously awful shit. Guy's been captured, and one of the things that people have been saying is, might be, at this time, a good idea to not be flying the Confederate flag that this guy kind of hid behind in a lot of cases. I suppose, eventually he was not hiding so much as shooting. And it's a reasonable expectation for government institutions to not fly this symbol at this time. But what Apple's done is very different.
Yeah, they removed games that have the flag in them, and so far I know of 2 games.
Yeah,
they're both.
You reviewed one, didn't you? Didn't you review
And this one, the guy who with the Ultimate General, it's amazing. It's like one of the best strategy games I've ever played.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. I was like, that looks fucking like a good ass game.
Yeah, this guy's. I think he's close to being a genius because he almost did this entire thing by himself, and he plays really well. He used to be a modder for Total War games, and then he was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna make my own." And it's much better than Total War. Like if you want to play a historical strategy game and you want a good one, Ultimate General is amazing. And they pulled it because it's obviously about Civil War, and how can you have a game about Civil War unless you have the Confederates? And how can you have Confederates unless they have a fucking flag? But obviously Apple doesn't really understand this. It feels like, the typewriter metaphor about if it's 1,000 monkeys kind of thing. Where imagine one of them got away and just got in charge of what's on iTunes. That's
this isn't a new behavior for them.
No, not at all.
Another tweet from Brianna Wu. Not normally do I enjoy the things she puts out, although I agree with her in principle in some cases. But one of the things was if you've been developing for iOS, this is not new. This is par for the fucking course.
Yeah. No. There's a famous example that one of the first publicized ones was when someone made a satirical game for iPhone about making iPhones, and people. You're managing a factory in China that is producing iPhones and they die or stuff like that. And they banned it. And they didn't that game never came back as far as I know. They were like, no, fuck that. This is bad for business.
It's
and
quite gross.
Yeah, and there's something there's a lot of criticism of Steam as a platform, obviously, because there's a lot of salty people around it. But that's one thing they don't do. And this is really cool. That they
Except for that 1 week with hatred.
Yeah, but they got it back out.
Yes.
And their explanation was that this was a mistake. So, and I agree. I don't think hatred should be banned from sale if someone wants to
No,
play
absolutely.
it.
But I wonder at the course of events that led to what happened basically with it. I think at some point Gabe was like, the end of this tunnel is a bad place, and I don't want to be responsible for it, because that's sort of their MO is don't really be responsible for things.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a good kind of good approach. Unless it's blatant bullshit, then you shouldn't remove it, because why? And especially if you're doing ham-fisted shit like banning strategy games.
I mean, there are things that there is something to curating what you sell or what you make available, but it's not this.
Yeah, and it's not their mission statement of Steam. They actually said, I've seen an interview or whatever, a lecture by Gabe, where he talked about how we don't want curation. We are against the curation, it's not our goal. We were kind of curating for a bit, but we are going to release this curation thing slowly, but every month, every year, whatever. It's going to be less and less curation. Everyone who wants to be on Steam will be on Steam. And I like that model. Green light, Jesus Christ. I like that model a lot more than sort of unexplained curation or not very clear
weird,
hidden curation.
Curation is a bit like Chinese firewalls and stuff like that, or British firewalls. It's gross. There's no accountability in it. That's the thing. At least where you're like, I put up this horrible game and you can buy it. You can go, wow, all right, fuck you.
Yeah.
Whereas where it's not there, you're like, why? And they're like, nah,
And
it's not
yeah, because
there.
they essentially change their mind about a thing, and then things are punished for. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
weird. And we'll see how it develops because this is very fresh. This happened today, and there has been no response from Apple yet. So they may change their
There was
mind. I don't know.
there was a thing, I think it was like last year. I don't think it's not game related, but it was about an edition of Huckleberry Finn, Adventures of Tom Sawyer, etc. thing, where they were altering that for obvious reasons, except for the exact same reason it was a mistake to alter it.
So the Apple altered the books. You mean?
No, it wasn't Apple. It's just like a similar situation where I don't know who it was, but they were like, I want to change this because this word isn't acceptable anymore. One recently said by the president. You all know what I'm talking
Thanks, Obama.
about. And yeah, it's the exact same thing where it's like, don't alter something historical. This is one of those times where you keep it.
Yeah, that's even more in more things more modern than that. Like Lord of Flies has the very same unspeakable word, and there are editions where it has been removed as well.
I don't think that's a good idea.
No.
It's such a slippery slope. I understand, like, I mean, I obviously never gonna give any more attention to hatred beyond what we're saying right now. I will never speak of it again because I don't think it deserves attention. But yeah, it's too slippery a slope to do things like that to stuff. I don't know. If you go into the area of like explicit defamation and stuff, well, there are laws for that, and some you may argue that some are not strong enough or whatever. Like, you know, someone makes a sort of a biography of my life that's completely wrong. Obviously, that's out of order. But yeah, this is things curating this kind of thing, banning it. No,
Yeah.
you can't do it. Like, for the record of what humanity has done, it should stand and show everybody how disgusting everyone is.
Yeah, exactly. You said you're not gonna devote any more time to hatred, but I don't know. I'm a bit worried now that when I come over on Saturday, like I just kind of come in and you're standing there.
I'll be drinking Monster. And
Yeah,
playing
Monster.
it.
Yeah, and then playing hatred. Anyway,
Oh, boy.
anyway.
Don't fuck with history, kids.
Yeah. Speaking of big companies, Amazon. This is kind of old news now, but we forgot to mention it.
Yeah, we never covered
It
it.
could be funny, eventually. So they're making their first PC game. What is it, you ask? No one knows, we answered, because they don't even have a team to make it yet.
I'll
Except-
tell you what it is. It's ambitious.
Excellent. Well, actually, they have a guy who was a designer on Far Cry 2. I forgot his name. A game I
Clint
didn't enjoy.
Hawking.
Oh, there you go. So he's there. And they actually published an email of some guy who can email and then be like, "How can I work for you, Amazon? I want to make PC games for you." So that could be interesting. I mean, they've been making some strides, I guess, into PC gaming field after especially spending $1 billion on Twitch. The funny thing I found about this was the wording, and I guess that this is my thing where I find the wording being the funniest thing. So let's where is this? I have it somewhere. There we go. Amazon. This is what they said about what they want, so their goals regarding making PC games. And they said, "We believe that games have just scratched the surface in their power to unite players and will produce some of the future's most influential voices in media and art." So they're trying to unite players.
Well, they had this vision of the future where it could be that the games industry even overtakes the movie and music industry combined in revenue. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Amazon. It's kind of fun. They have made games already, except that they're all for their Fire devices. The Fire.
What devices?
Fire. Kindle Fire.
What a great name.
Yeah.
Something
it's
I'll never
on,
see.
It's on fire. It's hot. Get
They're
it?
selling like fire.
Warmth. Yeah. People like that, right? Human music, beep boop.
That's what this shit reads like a little bit.
Yeah, it does. So
I think they just saw what like Netflix were doing. They were like, "Oh, Netflix, they took over video, and now they're making their own videos. Maybe we can take over games and make
whoa,
games."
yeah. They should ask Tale of Tales how to make games for gamers.
They'll be like, "Oh, yeah, Amazon, I bet you want us to show you how to make commercially successful games."
And they're like, where were you when we needed $1 billion? You gave it to Twitch instead of us, where we could make art for you. Yeah, they have 5 or 3 or whatever number mobile games for they look crap. And now they're going to do a PC one. Bit interesting. They also make their own movies. Not many people know this. They have movie studios. They make animated and non-animated, mostly children's stuff.
Oh.
I know this because it's one of the things I bought off Amazon. They sent me a DVD full of their original content. It was a bit strange. So, yeah. Amazon. It happened. We wanted to end today's stuff on a slightly more positive note. So we are going to show you and talk about Gungeon, or Enter the Gungeon, the game. So this video is Northern Lion doing a let's play of it. He recently did a stream. So Enter the Gungeon is something we're personally excited about. This is not a promotional material. We don't get paid for it, unfortunately. So, you know, we're just something we want to share with you. It's a mixture of Isaac and Nuclear Throne. Isaac is not something, Binding of Isaac is not something we necessarily enjoy very much, but Nuclear Throne, yeah, especially Ed is the upcoming star of Nuclear Throne.
Yeah. It's got its mother's eyes.
Yeah, it definitely has its mother's eyes.
It doesn't look like Isaac.
The Isaac bit is that you enter a room and it locks down until you kill everyone, and then you can exit. And this is being made by...
that is acceptable.
Yeah, that's acceptable level of Isaac, I think. It doesn't actually have the whole, like, 2,000 or 3,000 item system where there's like so much crap that you like knowledge
compromise your visuals horribly.
Or something like that. That actually looks really nice. I wish the video would start. I just download the entire thing and it doesn't. I think Northern Lion is just going to talk about 5 minutes until the end of the show. We just leave this on and like, you know, instead of finishing the show, just leave and go away.
Go and get another drink.
Yeah.
A monster from the fridge.
And it, like many good things in life, it has a co-op. It's going to have a co-op mode. And I think I mentioned this is published by Devolver. They usually have good stuff. There's stuff that isn't very good that they made, but like Ronin is very mediocre recently. But
really?
Yeah, it's like a turn-based ninja fighting thing. It's mediocre to a degree where they were giving out codes free so that people would make videos. Whenever that happens, it's kind of like, oh, is that the kind of game you're doing? But unlike that, this looks really cool. And so essentially like Nuclear Throne. The big difference is that, and the studio is called Dodge Roll, and there's a dodge roll in the game, which is the sort of a big mechanic, and you are essentially immune to anything while you're rolling.
Oh, it's a fully invulnerable dodge roll.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So as soon as you come out, then you can die, and then health. We have like very little health, so it's very much a bullet hell kind of game. We're quite punishing, even in early stages of it. And and what I really like is the ultimate goal of the game is to find a gun. So you need to reach like sort of like reaching the Nuclear Throne. You reach this thing. It's a fabled gun that can kill the past and erase your mistakes. So you find it, and then you become a new man. You become a woman. You become a new person. You erase your whatever happened, and that's why they're all these.
Is that going to be like the looping mechanic?
I don't know actually. I don't know if it's going to be a looping mechanic. I know that people die a lot in this, and it's a difficult one of them difficult games.
One of them difficult games the kids like.
Yeah, gamers like this game, I think.
Better not mess with them. Or you might not be commercially successful despite selling out.
Yeah. Wait, is Monster and Mountain Dew the same company?
I don't think so.
Okay, I just thought like it's like Lynx is Axe, you know.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Like Vauxhall is Opel.
Well,
that kind of
Mountain Dew is owned by PepsiCo.
Monster is owned by David Cameron.
This is Cameron's energy drink.
Because it is like the more British thing, isn't it? Like Monster is what the British gamer would drink, and then Mountain Dew is a bit more American. It's like it's the little things, Ed, the cultural things, you know, the differences, the differences that make us different and unite us in our energy drink consumption preferences. Is there anything else we wanted to say about this week's gaming, Ed?
There is almost nothing. Trying to think. I feel like something somewhat relevant dropped just before we started, but fuck it, we could talk about it next week.
Yeah, we'll pretend that it's news. It's like
yeah, we're like, oh my god, have you heard?
Have you heard?
Yeah.
It's just a few days ago.
Last Thursday, actually.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for watching and getting involved in the chat. There was quite a bit of involvement today. You're good gamers. You get involved. You know I got this.
You dominated the stream.
That's good. That's good. I had a different one where they interact with their brand.
Oh, they engage with
the brand. Yeah, engage with the brand.
I need a post-it that has a hashtag on it. Hang on. Let's go. Let's do this. Boom.
Yeah, you got it.
Engage with your brand.
Did they actually do that? Like webcam plus, or did you just invent that?
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone else does it.
Okay, cool.
I think it may be slightly too self-aware.
Once more, we're giving them an idea of what to do for free. We gotta have
Shit is free.
We have to charge. We have to start. If we want to be commercially successful, we'll have to charge.
My hashtags bring all the marketers to the yard.
Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. If you're watching this on YouTube, you know what to do. Press the buttons. We go live every Thursday around 10 o'clock BST while it's summer, and then the winter is coming, so who knows what's going to happen. We may actually not have the next episode, depending on how good Ed's internet is next week.
We hopefully will. I'm going to be at some hotel. Hopefully we'll have settled by this time. Actually, I will have settled by this time and be able to go via the laptop, which will be, if that's the case, it will be this one and next one will be kind of me on the road. But I'm going to endeavour to show up and we will try and do the show.
Can you have like little things from the hotel, like like little bar of soap or like tiny shampoo thing, like sitting in like somewhere in the webcam? Yeah. Or maybe you could like kind of use like blue tack or something, put them on your shoulder, like epaulets.
Yeah.
And,
or
cool.
I'll just be naked and just kind of lather over my body as we do new items.
Yeah.
Like, oh, cool. This is the kickstart bit.
Different towels, like there's how they give you like 8 different towels in a hotel. So you put like a big one on your body, and then like on your arm, and then the second one here, and one on your head, and one is a scarf.
Yeah.
Exactly. That would be pretty cool. So on that happy thought, hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you next time. Bye.